Every personality type in the film industry. That's right, the Hallmarky movie you're watching this season, whatever your type of Christmas movie is. I see you, Krampus lovers. Every personality type is involved in whatever show you're watching. Everybody watches TV, movies. Let's just not talk about ISTPs for a minute here. But they are involved too. Sci-fi, fantasy, whatever. It's a world. Who creates the world? It's a perfect analogy for where people tend to fit in the synthetic world of worlds we watch for entertainment. But where do you fit in? Start off again with the ENFJs, because they're always a crowd favorite. And yes, they are involved in the film industry, believe it or not. In fact, they're the most well-rounded in the film industry proper. I even had an ENFJ request this video. Sutton Noah, how do the ENFJs work with the INFPs on set? Behind the scenes, pre-production, post-production. Where are the ENTJs, ESTJs, ISTJs? Yeah, they're kind of involved as well. INFPs, INFJs, believe it or not. You get it. How accurate does this reflect to real life? Here we go. Let's start off with the trailers. As an actor, sometimes you get to be on those cool SAG productions and you're in your trailer. But you're all alone. If you're an extrovert like me, like you've probably seen in some of my videos, you just sit there to take a break. I can't stay in my trailer. Heads up to all casting directors. This guy's gonna talk to everybody. And yes, I have. But it's always a positive thing. So I walk right up to the production trailers and they're, hey, Eric, come on in. Depending on the production, right? You gotta be careful, respectful. Being aware of those boundaries is crucial. Boundaries, son. And boundaries are set by the J types. A P type is just open to whatever happens. But let's just take the analogy of walking around on set. Now, all of a sudden, you walk out of your trailer and there's the ISFJ standing right there. They're typically gonna be your helper, your assistant, your fun shadow. How can I help you? They're very present and very aware of what's happening. Their little, earpiece, walkie-talkie going on. Aware of all the chaos, able to handle it. Fantastic memories, a clipboard in their hand. They're kind of lenient with the rules, enough to get you onto the bus thing that shuttles you into the actual set. These are really big sets. Let's tone it down. Let's pretend there's no shuttle. Well, actually the shuttle drivers could be ENTP as well. They can also be the directors, the writers. ENTPs can be everything, but you don't typically see an ISFJ be the director. Let's put it that way. Back to the ENFJs. I have seen them be a jack of all trades, being the director, writer, everything. They just want to be involved. ENFJs are always involved. Managers, agents, they love gossip. They know everybody, know all the good, all the bad, really good for what they do. Also, on occasion, like to act. I know one who made his own movie this last year. I got to be involved in that. He was both the writer, director, producer, editor, everything. Just extremely bubbly, extremely involved. Also very good at gathering people onto set in case they couldn't get enough extras or something happened and we got to bring somebody in to replace somebody. They're very connected. They're pretty good at post-production as well, making sure the financials come through and go through. Back to that ISFJ, they will defend and help somebody in the entire process. Fantastic, shadowy companions. They make sure that you are okay. They're very specific and they can tag along with you. They are usually in the side spot as the assistants for the lead actors on set. They're fun to have because after your scene, you can walk over to the little group of assistants there, the ISFJs, and, play around and the little shenanigans. ISFJs are otherwise off the film sets. They're typically the nurses or the doctors. They handle the emergency rooms like crazy, They love the chaos because they're super grounded. ISFJs are very sage-like. They're also therapists. They make fantastic assistants. Met one on set and I married her. Long story there. Okay, moving on. Why is the ESTP doing something shady in the corner over there? Okay, we'll come back to the ESTP. ISTP, we mentioned them earlier. They're typically gaffers. They're involved, but they're never in front of the camera. Yes, boys, gaffers. Grungy physical stuff that seemingly nobody wants to do, but they like doing it. Just don't really give them compliments. They don't really like to be talked to, but I always try to give them attention and respect what they're doing. I find it fascinating what they're doing. And if I can get them to smile or talk to me for a minute, that's awesome, That's a win if you get an ISTP to talk to you, because they like to live in the shadows on the film set. Otherwise, outside the film industry, they're hunters and killers. They will hurt you. Wear camouflage, and it's hard to see them if they're walking by trees. So stagehands, for my theatrical friends, they are the ones wearing the black. Generalities, though, Who is the big, bubbly personality that's that weird, typically the co-star or the supporting actor? It's not common to see an ENFP be a lead. Now, why is that? I've seen them also be directors, writers. I think it's that intuitive nature. They just love being involved, similar to their J counterpart, the ENFJ. Not likely you'll see an ENFP stand-in because they can't hold still. So stand-ins typically end up being ISFP for some reason, or the lead. ISFPs are the lead who's very finicky, very easily, I didn't get enough water for that scene. Can I do it again? Very hyper judgmental. That's TE inferior, by the way. Perfectionists. ISFPs have a very small social circle and a very small tolerance for things like that. If you're close friends with an ISFP, awesome, good for you. They are extremely picky who's around them. Let's talk about the ESFJ. A lot of the times the ESFJs are the directors. Now remember, If you're not familiar with the film industry, there's a difference between the producers and the directors. And there's different types of producers, for example. Those executive producers are ENTJs, the ones who fund everything. How do they get so much money, these ENTJs? They run the empires, they're the emperors. Sometimes they're the directors as well. I know a duo who's probably gonna watch this video. I'm doing a movie with them right now, Witch of Wanderer Lane. Shout out to the farmers. Alicia is an ENTJ and John is an ENTP. Together, they're co-directing that, handling all the chaos as it comes and yet leading the project as it moves forward. Very unique production in which, they would co-write, the ENTP would take it to an imaginative level, and the ENTJ would yes or no something, lead it and take the power on top. That's how the ENTJ and ENTP work together. ENTPs can do all the fun crazy, and ENTJs can sit on top and rule the show, which I think is a really cool dynamic to watch. ENTJs otherwise work the financial side, they own it, and they get that type of glory in that. Speaking of glory, the ones who kind of like entertain everybody, who are on set and being the main actor or the whatever the case, but they're very, very specific. Like we want to be like the star, but we also know that there are boundaries. So we're flighty, kind of prideful, but the talent is just overwhelmingly annoying. The one who can do too many things, every accent, even soundtrack, can get, if they're not focused, a little judgmental, but mature ones are okay. Talking about ESFPs, by the way. ESFPs are liked by everybody to a point. There's a point when an ESFP, if you hang around them too much, I'm an ESFP, you realize that we're once the show is over, we're not as entertaining as you might think. We're also, we can get paranoid or careful about what other people think of us. There's a double-edged sword to being that person. An entertainer who's not entertaining. What do we really like, We end up making TikTok channels about personality types because we see it all. We're FE critics, critical of what happens and how other people are showing their emotion. So acting is a perfect field for us because people show emotion on a scene, whatever it is, whatever the scene calls for. So being able to nitpick every little thing and see all the details. Oh man, continuity was up. Who do you tell? I don't want to be that guy. Leave that to the ESFJs, the directors. Now, directors are very niche with their groups. In Harry Potter, I've mentioned this before, the Slug Club, they have their people. ESFJs are very particular who is on their set. If they don't approve of you, you're gone. ESFJs are protective of their circle. Also obligatory, overt contract-like. If they do something for you, they're gonna expect you to do something for them. They have to approve the things and have that control. They're a micromanager. You do this, and make sure that fantastic directing on a film set. Sometimes you kind of need some micromanaging at certain points, but I digress. ESFJs are core. You don't always see them on a set. I typically see them in the larger sets, and they're usually in power. One set, my trailer, we talked about the production trailer, the guy who said, hey, come on in, Eric, he was an ESFJ. He taught me a lot about the back end. This was a while ago. Post-production and how he approves things and doesn't approve things. In walks in an ENTJ and gives him a check. He's like, cool, awesome, we can go another day. I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. So here an ESFP sitting next to an ESFJ. They're very guarded. ESFPs are more flighty. That's that fourth letter switch. Okay, we're running out of time. How are we doing? You guys liking this one? It's kind of fun. As promised, I missed the STJs in the last one. We mentioned an ESTP earlier. Let's talk about the STs real quick. ESTPs are very fun, very pokey. They know how to push buttons. ESTPs, I know one who works in special effects. So using that SE dominance, he's able to analyze the scene very quickly, like what an ESFP would do, but he does it on an analytical level. So he knows what it's gonna be like in post-production, how to, put that special effect in play. Believe it or not, an ESTP with enough caffeine can really kill it in the editing room. They can also make good actors. They're known as the cool ones, the sly ones. And yeah, they'll talk to anybody who talks to them. As outgoing as the EF personality types, for example, in that regard. Social nonetheless. Let's see, who we missing? Everybody here is also multi-talented. Typically, we tend to find ourselves in these niches where we're most comfortable. To say one could or couldn't be something is not necessarily true. This is just what I've seen as a consistent pattern in the years that I've been in the acting industry. In the music industry, which I also play with, being an Osmond and all that, I was raised in music, on stage. That's a whole different world too, the theatrical world and the music world. Man, I come from a bunch of weird places. Don't forget the goblin makers up there. Yeah, you have all kinds of people in film. This might be into part 2, but I'll jump really quick to the STJs as I promised. The ESTJ is typically the attorney, the ones who are like writing up the contracts for you to have your release form or whatever the case. The one who got you the paperwork, that's your ESTJ. They are the controllers, and if anything happens, oh boy. The ISTJs, typically security on set. They don't want to be on camera. Just let them do their thing, but they can be friendly. At a time, but we are missing the INTJs, INFJs, INFPs. And don't forget, a lot of extras can be any personality type. Those trying to get into the industry, that's a whole different world there. They just want to be involved and get started. Gosh, there's so much. Let me know if you want more. I mean, there's a lot to it.